Yeah.
I wait. All right. So as of January 1st, 2026, the Safe Homes Act has been incorporated or should be incorporated into every lease in the state of Illinois. It should be, according to the law, the first 4 pages of every lease. Now, unfortunately, not all the boards have made this modification to their lease. Some of the boards have not added flood disclosure to their lease. One of the boards that has done a very good job of updating their documents is the Main Street Association. Main Street Association has the Safe Homes Act as the first 4 pages. They also have incorporated the flood disclosure into their lease. The state of Illinois requires us, in addition to the Safe Homes Act, they say that every tenant in the state of Illinois should be given a copy of the seller completed flood disclosure prior to signing a lease. So that means when you're representing a tenant, you need to ask for that flood disclosure either when you're showing the property or immediately after. And the tenant should have the opportunity to look at that flood disclosure before they proceed with the lease documents. Inside of the lease, there is an acknowledgement that they have been given a flood disclosure. And so you would check that off as well. The Main Street lease has the Safe Homes Act, it has the flood disclosure, and it also has a place for you as a tenant representative to ask for your commission to be paid. All right. Some of the NASBAR has the Safe Homes Act added, and they've got the flood disclosure added, but they don't have a place for you to ask for your commission. I'm not sure whether CAR does or not. I'm just trying to give you documents that are so complete you don't need anything else. If you use a lease agreement without the commission added into it, then you're going to have to do another document that specifies who's going to pay your commission and how much it's going to be. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. We have some communities that are very, very strict with rental regulations. Mount Prospect is one of them. Hanover Park is one of them. If you're taking a listing in any particular suburb or Chicago, you need to find out what the regulations are in that locality for rental requirements. Some require a license. I believe Mount Prospect requires a license. They also require either the agent or the landlord to take a course. I know Hanover Park does as well. I once had a landlord that was out of state. They asked me to list their property in Hanover Park. I found out I had to attend an 8-hour course. I had to pass a test, and the property had to be inspected by the village before we could list it for rent. A lot of villages, Wakanda requires a village inspection, and these people in the villages typically charge for the inspection. And very commonly, they find something wrong on the first trip, like maybe one of the outlets wasn't working correctly or a light bulb was burnt out in a closet. I've had in Wakanda, for instance, them fail my first inspection because there was a burnt out light bulb. And so then they got to charge us another $75 to come back and reinspect once that light bulb was changed. So it's probably in your best interest if you're in one of these situations to walk through the house, go into every closet and make sure every light bulb lights. Make sure all the switches operate the lights that are overhead, if there are any. Okay. Um, Make sure the appliances work because they don't allow for it. They'll just keep charging you for re-inspections. Some villages test in Streamwood, for instance, the fire department comes out and tests all the smoke and CO detectors. And you have to have a license in Streamwood as well. Has anyone here ever gone through this process with the village? And do you have anything else you want to add?
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
this
is
is
Ashish.
yeah, this is Mehdi. Streamwood, Palatine, Schaumburg, Wheeling, Buffalo Grove. These are the villages that I went through it. They they charge you for the license.
Yep,
You have to take the class actually online. But if they have to come back and inspection fail, they charge you again.
yep.
Okay. So that's for your
It's
information.
it's a racket. It is,
And,
guys.
and Gabby said that Glendale Heights has annual inspections.
Yeah. So
And
does
please,
Hanover
everyone,
Park.
you can all
Hanover
unmute
Park also
yourself.
has annual inspections. And one thing what has helped me as a landlord
Yes.
is I always keep those extra bulbs, extra batteries,
Yep.
smoke detectors. So when they point it out, I change it right there and they kind of cross it off.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
those
Good.
are some things that you can do. Keep some extra batteries in your car to change it on smoke detectors. And nowadays they require 10-year batteries. So
Right.
smoke detectors with 10-year batteries, the regular smoke detectors don't work anymore.
Wow.
Right.
So you have to have,
That's good
so
to
I
know.
always keep a couple of those extra in the car. If they point it out, I change it right because it's only two screws most of the time. The new one fits
Wow.
into the old one.
It might even be helpful if they're up on the ceiling, if you had a little step stool that you could get up
Correct.
there, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a good
Okay.
point.
Okay.
All
One
right.
other thing that they're very sensitive, entrance door. The
Oh,
lock should be working. The entrance door. They want that the door close automatically. They do not want broken locks or whatever.
wow. Okay.
Mary's asking a question. Does the tenant need to show some proof of feeling unsafe and cancel the lease?
I don't know what is required. If you read the first 4 pages of that Safe Homes Act that the tenant will sign, it'll give you the details. I don't know specifically what is required. I know a lot of landlords are very upset about this because they feel that it gives the tenant the option to walk away whenever they feel like it.
Gotcha.
All right.
Yeah.
So I'm not an attorney. I'm not going to interpret it, but I would advise you all to read it. Okay.
Mhm.
We've been having so many challenges in doc review over rentals, and that I wanted to clarify a few issues. Okay. Number one, if it's your listing and we went over the listing agreement for rentals last month. If it's your listing and an unrepresented tenant approaches you and wants to see the house, you have the right to show them that house under a no agency disclosure. We recommend that you use the lengthy no agency disclosure that Main Street has produced because the beautiful part about that disclosure is it identifies columns of what you can and can't do as either a dual agent, no agent, or a represented tenant, so that the tenant understands fully what they're giving up by approaching you with no agency. I think, unfortunately, a great many, both buyers and tenants, who approach the listing agent feel that they are going to get the house much cheaper because they think the listing agent is not earning a commission. And this is very rarely the case. More often than not, the listing agent is earning a commission because they've specified on their listing agreement if an unrepresented tenant or buyer approaches them, they are going to earn X amount of dollars. So on that no agency agreement, and we require it to be signed by the tenant or the buyer in the case of a sale, that they understand that it does not have anything to do with commission. The listing agent very, very well may be earning commission. I've only seen one occasion in the last couple months where our agent gave up that tenant side of the commission. I will also explain to you that some people do not understand. They think that if they do no agency with the tenant or with the buyer, that they won't have to pay transaction fees on both sides. That's not true. You will have to pay a transaction fee for the tenant and on the landlord side if you do no agency. Okay? Some people have thought that maybe they could get around paying that fee if they increase the listing agent compensation and put 0 down for unrepresented tenant. That won't work either. If you increase your compensation after you found the tenant to the list side, you are still going to pay two sides transaction fees. Okay? Because we do.
Greg is asking the question, how does it work with agent owner listing the property and being approached to show the property the proper way?
If it was me, and I don't ever do dual agency, I prefer not to enter into the no agency realm as well, because I don't think most people who are asking for no agency really understand the implications. If it was me and I owned the property, I would refer those people out. At the very least, if you want to avoid, maybe it's your property and you don't want to pay that extra commission, I would say then definitely make them read no agency before you open that door and make them sign off and explain to them, this is what I can't do for you as a no agent. Okay? Any other questions so far?
No, we're good.
Yeah, I have a question.
Well,
Yeah.
okay.
So if I show the property with no agency and then they want to go forward and they want me
Yeah.
to represent them, can I switch over to be a dual agency as long as everybody agrees?
If that's what you want to do, you may. I don't see the benefit for you as an agent because once you switch over to dual agency, you lose your ability to advise your first client, the seller or the landlord. You can no longer say, hey, I don't like the sound of this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's up to you.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right. Any other questions so
Yeah,
far?
for owner listing or agent who is the owner of the property,
Yeah.
how does the transaction fee work?
You pay the same if somebody else brings you the tenant, you just pay the transaction fee on the listing side. Okay?
And what
If
is the transaction fee for leasing?
I typically speaking, it's 10%. Okay?
Yep.
Unless it's a very high-end lease, like $7,000, they might charge you more. But I think if it's like 3,500 or less, I think they charge you 10%. So
Okay.
it's minimal. It's not bad at all.
Right.
10% on each side?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
And what are the do's and don'ts of being a agent owner listed?
You can never be a dual agent on a property that you own. Plain
Okay.
and simple. That's against the law. It's against license law. Another thing, if you're an agent that owns the property, you must put on the lease or on the contract, if it's a sale, that the seller is a real estate licensee in the state of Illinois.
Okay,
Not
so
all,
the lease should have those wordings.
yes.
The landlord is a realist.
Yeah. Now, on some of the leases that are available to you, there is a checkbox. The landlord is the licensee. Okay.
Okay.
I believe Main Street has that. I think Carr also has that. I'm not sure about NASBAR or any of the others. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Any other
Another
questions?
question, agent owner, no dual agency, but can you do no agency and go forward with it servicing both sides?
You can. You can do no agency. It's up to you. Yes.
I have a question. So, my sister-in-law needs help with her property. I'm not doing anything, but she just wanted me to do the lease for her. And I said, yeah, I can help you with that. But I'm not representing her or anything. She just rented her property. I was just helping her with creating the lease and all that. That shouldn't have any implications, right? Because she just listed her property on Zillow to rent it out, and she found a person. She did you know, the check and everything, and she just wants me to go over the lease just to make sure that it's all good.
Well, here's the complicated part.
Okay.
When we agree with the board of realtors that we belong to, that we will not share their documents with anyone outside of the board,
Okay.
that is not a member.
Uh-huh.
So you are allowed, when you do a listing, you're allowed to use your board's documents.
Okay.
So if you're doing a favor for a relative, you
Mm-hmm.
should not be using board documents.
Okay.
All right.
So then, what lease document she should be using? Like normal, like Illinois stuff or something, or
She would have to go to a office supply store and get a
uh-huh.
copy of a lease. Now, here's the problem. I would
Okay.
say probably 99% of the office supply stores have not updated their leases to
Mhm.
comply with the new regulations in Illinois. The
Okay.
Safe Homes Act is the first 4 pages. Now, if you want to print out the first 4 pages of the Safe Homes Act and give it to her, that's
Yeah.
fine, because
Okay.
I believe that is a state required document.
Okay.
But as far as everything else is concerned,
Right.
I think you're safer not providing any board documents.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Okay. So even the disclosures and everything, they are board ones, or
Yeah,
you
they're proprietary. Yes, they pay
Okay.
lawyers a lot of money to create those documents.
Okay.
All
Oh,
right.
okay. Makes sense.
All
And
right.
yeah, that is good to know because, or I can ask her, what if she wants to get the help? Like, like for example, if she doesn't want to go through the trouble and she asks me, can you do it officially as a realtor? Then and I don't want to be paid for it.
All
What?
you have to do is charge her the 10%, the minimal fee, and you could list it for her. All right.
Okay. I mean, she already found someone, so
Oh, okay.
yeah.
All
It's
right.
just like preparing the lease at this
Yeah.
point. So I can still do it.
Yeah. I mean, you could list it for her and just not put it in the MLS. You would need an MLS listing exemption.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank
All
you.
right. Any other questions so far?
Nope, we're good right now.
One of the things we've been having a gigantic problem with are people who are submitting tenant representation agreements that are what we would basically consider fraudulent. Our tenant representation agreement has a date in the bottom right-hand corner. That date is the date this document was created. Okay. So if that date in the bottom right-hand corner says, I'm going to pick a number out of the air, 11/1/25, you cannot have a date at the top of that agreement that says it was created in August of 25. Do all of you understand that? In other words, you cannot create a buyer rep or a tenant rep agreement after you go under contract. And we see all too often, technically speaking, you are not entitled to any compensation if you do this after the fact.
Right.
All right. So now I have agents call, I lost it, or my dog ate it. It blew out my car window, so now I've got to recreate it. I don't know what to do. So here's, if your tenant rep agreement truly blew out the car door window, or your dog ate it, and you have to recreate it now that you've got a transaction pending, then I recommend you go to the Board of Realtors and pull up their tenant rep agreement, because it will not have that little date in the bottom right-hand corner that ours has on the date it was created. All right, because ours are more recent. The board's forms go back a little bit further, and you will not be in violation. And one of the things I want you to be aware of, should we be audited and the state auditors come in and look at our documents, just because you submit a document that's non-compliant and then you later submit one that's okay, we put the original one in the garbage, but the auditors have access to the garbage. They have access to everything in our files. So if they go in that garbage and see that you submitted a document that was fraudulent, you could be in big trouble. Okay?
Elva is asking, would you explain what an MLS listing exemption?
All right, an MLS listing exemption is it's called the MRED listing exemption form. And basically it says, it's going to give you a bunch of options. Do you want this listing to go into the MLS today, tomorrow, after a certain period of time, or never? It's never going to go into the MLS. Okay, I see there's another question.
Yeah, it's a long one. Hang on.
All right.
We've got representing tenant. The lessor does not want to pay any commission. Tenant has $1,000 on representation agreement. However, agent that represents the tenant said prior signing owner will compensate. Now the agent wants to honor his word, but wants to earn compensation. What's the proper way of disclosing what's going on under this circumstances to the tenant? I say disclose everything, just asking to check if that's the proper way, or should the compensation be negotiated directly with the owner's side?
All right. That was a little confusing. Did I understand you to say that on the tenant rep agreement, it said that the lessor was going to pay? Because that's not allowed.
Greg, can you unmute yourself and help clarify?
Sure.
Thank
So-
you.
So the lessor doesn't want to pay any compensation.
Yeah,
The tenant representation agreement with the tenant's agent states the tenant is going to pay $1,000.
yeah,
But the agent said to the tenant, well, the owner is gonna compensate my side, so you got nothing to worry about. And then the owner says, no, actually, I'm not paying any compensation. And now the agent of the tenant wants to honor his word, but at the same time, he wants to make a commission. So now, does he tell to the tenant that the tenant is going to be liable for the $1,000 commission?
absolutely.
Or does he go and renegotiates it with the owner side? And they still say no, because to me, I would disclose everything and be like, hey, listen, if they don't want to pay, you're liable for what you agreed to.
Right.
And
Now, here's the
then-
conversation you need to have with the tenant. When you take the tenant rep agreement and you put that $1,000 on there, and say, we fully expect that the landlord will compensate us for this $1,000. However, there will be cases in certain properties where the landlord's not willing to compensate. At that time, you will have a choice. You can say, let's move on to another property, Mr. Tenant, or yes, I will pay your fee, or I'll renegotiate it with you, Mr. Agent. But it always must be disclosed. You can't just surprise the tenant and say you owe me $1,000 if they don't have $1,000, available.
100%. So pretty much disclose everything, and that's by the end
Absolutely.
of the day, it's the decision of the tenant to either
Yep.
go further with the transaction or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got it.
All right. All right. Any other questions so far?
Yeah, this Mehdi, a lot of villages, almost all of them, are required the tenant sign something called crime prevention, forms.
Yes,
Can you add it to our list of documents so we can use it? Because every time we have to go to different village to find that form.
but see, the form is different depending on what village, I would imagine.
I mean, 90% are similar. They say that, if you see the crime or whatever, you can get out of the list.
Well, I would have to have a copy of it and I would have to look at it. Okay.
I will send you a copy of three
All right.
villages so that,
All right.
it's a lot of similarity, but
Okay.
it would really help us because we keep going to association or village to get that form, and
Yeah.
sometimes they don't have it, sometimes they say go online,
Yeah.
Okay,
I
thank
think it's always best to look at the village's website to download any forms that could be needed. Okay.
Mhm.
Could I share a screen with you guys? I'm going to show
We've
you.
got one more question.
Oh,
Prego,
sure.
raising her hand.
Hi, Sandra. So I just spoke to my sister-in-law and she wants me to do the lease, but I just wanted to understand the process here. So now that I'm going to list the property, I need to get the MRED exemption, right? And then I need to, because they already showed the property to someone and it's all done.
Yeah.
So then I have to have the no agency disclosure signed as part of the lease as well from the other side.
Yes.
I'll have a listing agreement with my sister-in-law where I'll say I won't charge you anything, but the transaction fee would be there, right? So do I need
Yes.
to put that in there?
Yes.
And that would be how much would that transaction fee would be if
Well, it depends
like this
upon the rental amount.
rental
So,
amount is 3,000. So
all right. So typically speaking, 10% of it,
okay,
well, would it be typically one half is what?
okay.
Yeah. So
So
50.
150.
Yeah.
Okay. So I need to get all those and then do the lease, right?
Correct.
Okay.
All right. Make sure you all get a flood disclosure signed when you take your listing agreement.
Okay.
All right. That
Yeah.
has to be given to the tenant before they sign the lease.
Okay, so maybe today I do all the disclosures, listing agreement, no agency disclosure and everything, and then tomorrow I do the lease so that it's like,
Yes.
in the right order.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What
One
if you
more
don't have,
question?
I'm sorry,
That's okay, go ahead.
what if you don't have flood disclosure for the property?
What do you mean, what if you don't have it?
You have to create it.
You have to have every single rental in the state of Illinois must have a flood disclosure.
Mhm.
Okay.
All right.
And we have another question. Can we use the Main Street lease if you are with NASBAR?
Yes. Yes, you may.
Okay.
All right.
Yep. And now you wanted to share your screen.
Yeah, I'm gonna hopefully I just want to point out a few things. All right. How do I do that?
Down at the bottom, there's a little green arrow that points up that says share.
All right, hold on. All right, now I see it.
Click
If I
on
can
that.
found it now. Let's see. Can you all see the tenant rep agreement?
No.
No.
Nope. Uh-oh. What's wrong here? Ah. All right, let's try this again. Why isn't this working? Let's see here. Let me try it again. Hold on. Please be
Okay.
patient. You still can't see it, right?
No.
All right.
It says you're starting to screen share now.
All right, let's
We
see if
see
it,
we see your Zoom screen.
okay, but you
Um,
don't see,
It looks like the window that you're trying to show us needs to be scrolled over.
okay, so let me try. Ah, where are you? Come on. It won't let me. How about now?
There we go.
All
And
right.
now if you can open that screen larger,
Yes. All right. Is
very
that
good.
legible for you?
Yes, yes.
All right. So, this is just one example of a tenant representation agreement. And this is our Home Smart one. And so you put the tenant's name at the top. Your name would go right in this blank line underneath, all right, as the tenant's representative. And this is dated 2/18 of 26 and expires 6/17 of 26. This guy is looking in Cook County, all right? The agent duties are outlined here. Then we have tenant duties outlined here. And down on the next page, and oh, that date I was telling you about, you see this revised 10/29 of 25. So that means you can't have on this particular document a date prior to 10/29/25 because this document was not created until October 29th. All right.
Yeah.
All right, next page. And this is where I tell the world how much I want to make off of this rental. I am not allowed to ask for any more than 50% of the monthly rent if I write 50% in here. If I put $1,000 in here, I am not allowed to ask for $1,200. If it turns out, if you use a percentage, that probably covers more contingencies than putting in a flat amount. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
Agent, additional tenant duties are, they have to provide you with all this information. All right. The tenant will always have the ability to opt out if that commission is not being paid by the landlord. All right. Or they can renegotiate with you. Let's say they say to you, I still want to proceed with this property. I understand they're not paying. Will you reduce your commission? And commissions, remember, by law, are always negotiable. All right. So you, as the agent, can set your standards any way you want, but be aware that the tenant has a right to ask to renegotiate. Okay.
Yes.
This paragraph 8 concerns discrimination and rights. You must have this initialed by your tenant, stating that they understand it is illegal for them to discriminate in any way in the state of Illinois. All right. And Illinois' fair housing is much stricter than national fair housing. Okay. Disclosure of potential dual agency. Up to you whether or not you want to be a dual agent. Let's say you take this tenant agreement and you take it today, but tomorrow you list a property that suits their needs. If you are a dual agent, if you are not a dual agent, you have no choice but to offer this guy another agent in the office to cover him and to show the property. If you have a listing suddenly, if you have yes here, you can be a dual agent. All right. You can't go from dual agency to no agency because you already have information about both parties. You can go from no agency to dual agency, however. I make my tenants and my sellers and my buyers read what is possible in a dual agency role. A lot of people do not understand how very limited you are once you enter dual agency. You can no longer advise either party with regard to price, condition, whatever. Your lips are sealed. All right. All you can do is fill in blanks on the contract and say, what do you want me to do? I can tell you what the other side said, but I can't give you any opinions. All right. I want everybody to read restrictions on a licensee's disclosures when serving as a dual agent. This is all verbiage you need to read, all right? And here's a paragraph protecting the designated managing broker, which is very nice that they added that. We have the tenant's name written in, the tenant's signature, the date. We're very fussy about dates. Everything, if I have 218 at the front, it should be 218 back here, okay? Any question about that?
Yes. You said that the dual agency, if we say no dual agency and later on, this guy decided to do one of our own listing or whatever, we can
Yeah.
change it, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Wait a minute. If you say no dual
Yeah, no dual
agency,
agency, but later on this guy, decided to get one of our listing.
well, you could do no agency. Well, one of your listings, then yeah, you would have to be a dual agent. And so if your landlord has said no dual agency, you're going to have to have another talk with your landlord. Okay. Now, how
Okay.
do I unshare? I'm not sure.
Just say stop sharing. Go back to the green arrow
Well, I don't know where it is. Let's see
at the
here.
bottom.
Let's see here.
At the bottom of the Zoom screen.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So how do I stop?
It should say stop share.
It just says share.
Oh,
Am I back to normal or no?
well, it's showing your Zoom screen right now.
Oh, okay. I don't want that. I don't have a stop share option. That's the problem.
Oh,
It's just share. And
how
this is
about if we go to the other one that you wanted me to share?
okay, that would be great.
How about
All right.
do that.
All right.
Can you see my screen?
It says you started. Yes. Okay. All right. Now, let's make it bigger if we can. Can everyone
Okay.
see this?
Nope, we only see the Zoom screen.
We can see it.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Prega.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
can see it too.
All right. There was one question maybe we should address before we start on this.
Yes, Mary says, I am new to HomeSmart Connect. Do we upload the buyer or tenant agreement if there is no lease or sale?
Yes. There is a special portal, a file. You upload all buyer agreements and all tenant rep agreements. And once you locate a property, it will combine the buyer or tenant rep into that sale or rental file. Okay? It will import it into your new file. All right?
Is
right.
everyone seeing the screen that I'm sharing now? This is the Main Street screen. Main
Yes, we can
Street,
see
Cook
it.
County residential lease.
Elva says she can't see it.
And Jan is saying the same thing. They
Wow.
only see the Zoom.
Why do some people see it and others don't? I don't
know.
understand.
I don't know. Do you see a red block on your screen, Sandra, that says stop share?
No.
Maybe if you go down to the bottom of the screen
Yeah.
and hover over the black bottom, it might show the stop share.
No, I do not see any. Nope. Nope. All I have is share.
Huh.
Wow.
I can change it back to single
All right.
participant, and we can
Yeah,
try
let's
that.
try that.
Actually, I think I know the issue. The issue is if you look at the top part of the Zoom screen, oh, now it's gone because there were
Well,
two.
Yeah, I'm trying to just change it to just one person can share.
Okay, that's good.
So let's see
There
if
you
this
go.
works.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Okay.
Okay, so can
All right.
everybody see it now? Elvira?
Oh, yes, she does.
I'm good.
Jan sees it now.
Okay.
Okay, this is a copy of the Main Street Cook County residential lease, and I feel this is the most robust lease available for you to use in Cook County. The reason being that Main Street has incorporated the Safe Homes Act into this as the first 4 pages as required, but also they have the commission added in, so you can ask for your commission, and they have the affirmation that the flood disclosure was provided. Okay, so I'm not going to read the entire Safer Homes Act to you, but understand that. Can we just scroll?
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get there. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Let me see if I can
You
make that
may
happen.
not rent a property in Cook County unless you are using a Cook County lease. All right. Now, the problem I found with a lot of management companies is they're not up to date on the law. All right. Unfortunately. And they need to be told what the law is. And sometimes you have to bring it to their attention or send them a copy of the lease that they should be using. I've had agents say to me in the past, well, that's not my job. I represent the tenant. I don't do the lease. Well, actually, it is your job. I've always done the lease for my tenants. So I prefer if you've got an uncooperative management company that does not understand the law, send them a copy of the lease and tell them not only do they have to have a flood inside of the lease, because the law says one flood disclosure must be given to every tenant prior to them signing a lease, and another flood affirmation inside of the lease. So 2 times. So one of the biggest problems we have are people using non-compliant leases that do not have the second flood disclosure in them. Okay. We have people using leases that are not Cook County leases in Cook County. And then we've got another problem, and we'll go over what those issues are. All right. So let's get to the first page of the lease.
Okay.
And you're going to have your tenants sign the entire 4 pages. There's a signature on the bottom of each and every page for the summary of rights for Safer Homes. All right. And it outlines exactly what the tenant has to do to exercise their right. All right. So let's scroll down, and we're going to go to the first page of the lease.
Well, oh, it's all the way past the first 4
Yeah.
pages?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So now this is like your instruction page for completing this lease. I recommend that you read it. Don't cherry pick documents out of this lease and pull them out before you send them, because some of the things in here that may not be applicable right now may be applicable later. For instance, if the management of the property changes during the course of the lease, this lease says you have to notify the tenant in writing. So there is a form in here that you use to accomplish that. Okay, so let's move on. Let's go.
Question, if tenant is renting since 2019, do I still have to give them the Safer Act disclosure?
If you're writing a new lease for them, yes, you do. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's scroll down.
Scroll down.
All right. Let's go through page by page, and I'll tell you what to put on each page. All right.
I have a question,
Yes.
Sandra. So, is there an easier way to renew the lease, or you have to do the new lease every time, even if your tenant is same? Like,
Well, it's up to you. If you don't do a new lease, then they become month-to-month tenants, and they're not bound.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay.
So if you're the landlord, you're going to want a new lease signed.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's move on.
So continuing on that thought, I'm sorry about interrupting,
That's all
but
right, go ahead.
so if you have a form which says this is lease extension or addendum, does that work, or you still have to have brand new lease every
You
year?
know what? I don't have a lease extension form. If their landlord has an attorney draw one up, that would be acceptable if the attorney says it's good. I'm not an attorney, so I'm not familiar with any lease extension forms. All right.
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you this Main Street lease has an attorney review addendum as well in it. And a lot of leases don't. All right.
Thank you.
Let's keep going. These are all instructions and explanations of
Okay.
different paragraphs that I don't think we need to go through right now. So this is the first, technically, would be the fifth page of the lease. You have a start date and end date, the monthly rent, security deposit. If there is a non-refundable move-in fee, you would put it here. Pet deposit, you would put it here. The address here, names of the tenants, names of the landlord. Let's scroll down.
Okay.
Any other persons that are occupying the property, you would put on these lines. Then you're going to go down to landlord contribute. Oh, wait, here we have at line 154, the landlord or the tenant is an Illinois real estate licensee, one or the other. Okay. That takes care of your disclosure if you're an owner. All right. If
Yeah.
dual agency applies, you click that box on line 155. And one thing I wanted to point out to you here, we're down at the landlord contribution to pay brokerage compensation. In our office, when we do a listing for a lease, we do not offer tenant brokerage compensation on our listing agreement. So if an agent comes with a tenant for your listing, they would put their commission at line 158, how much they're asking you to pay on behalf of their tenant for your compensation. If, however, it is your listing and you are doing this for an unrepresented tenant, you would not put commission on line 158 because your commission is covered by the listing agreement. All right?
Okay, I have a question.
Yes.
If I understand that we are not, because I've been hit by this line so many times.
Yes.
I am still feeling on my hand how many times they hit it. If I'm a listing agent, and let's say for example, 3,000 is the commission that for 1 month that my landlord is gonna pay, and I'm
Yeah.
paying half of it to the tenant agent. Do I
Yeah.
have to put anything in here?
If another agent is bringing the tenant,
Yes.
they're going to fill this out and put half of 1 month's rent or 50% of 1 month's
I
rent.
have to put it in here, half of it, or no? I
If-
don't have to do anything in here.
Well, wait, if it's some other agent's tenant, it goes on here. If it's an unrepresented tenant coming to you as the listing agent, you don't put anything in there.
Okay, thank you very much.
And we
You're
have another
welcome.
question. Are there different leases for other counties outside of Cook County?
There is a non-Cook County lease, everything outside of Cook County. Yes. And there is a specific difference. The Cook County lease incorporates what is called a landlord tenant ordinance that everybody needs to be aware of. All right. So we've handled the payment of commission. If we could scroll down,
Okay.
the rest of this you fill in according to what is on the listing sheet. Okay. All right, keep going.
Okay.
If you would. Tenant's property insurer, that's important. Landlord's property insurer. God forbid an unexpected occurrence happens and there's damage to the property. We want to know who we're calling. Okay.
Right.
We need tenant's initials at line 179. If the property was built prior to 1978, the tenant should have been given a lead-based paint disclosure and initial. Very important, line 191, the tenant is going to acknowledge that they have received the flood disclosure. All right? And we're going to redo the flood disclosure here again. So some people say, oh, it's on the lease. I don't have to have the flood disclosure. Yes, you need it 2 times. According to the state of Illinois, every tenant must be given 2 flood disclosures. Even if it's on the 10th floor of a condo building, guys, because the flood disclosure covers driveways, parking lots, basements, covers the storage lockers in the basement of condo buildings. So it isn't just because you are on the 12th floor, it's the entire property. Okay?
Nope.
All right.
Quick
The
question.
rest, yeah,
For the flood disclosure, the other one needs to be signed before they sign the lease, correct?
correct.
Okay.
All right. So the rest of this is pretty straightforward. I think you can go through it line by line and fill it out. It's not different than it was before. Let's scroll down. I want to get to the attachments that are part and parcel of this lease. Okay.
One question that I have before you go all the way,
Yeah.
the area that they are asking for estimated utility, if we don't have it, what do we do?
Well, on the Main Street lease, I don't know. Do they ask for that? If they do, if you don't have it, then just there is a place to check you don't know, I believe, isn't there? Can we go back up? What
Yeah,
line was that
Morgan,
on? Do you
There is
remember?
one.
Oh, right
Here's
Right
here.
here, right here.
Yeah, cost unknown. You could check that box.
Okay,
All right.
yeah.
I had a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Under by line 15, the box additional agreements and covenants, is that where we write in if the renter wants to hang their own fixtures? Or I had a renter want their own washer. They didn't like the washer there. Is that where you would fill in on this new lease? That information?
I don't see line 15.
No,
Can you
at line 15, and then it says the following are incorporated in this lease.
hold on? Let's get back up there. Hold on. Okay.
Yeah, where it says additional covenants and
No, we got to go back up.
Go back. Up, right here, right here, right here.
All right, that's not line 15 though.
yeah,
That's
sorry,
not
but I didn't know what
15.
line that was.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, you could write it in there. All
That's
right.
where we would put any additional.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Let's go all the way to the end of this lease.
I have a question too, Sandra. So every time you do a new lease, the process is going to be same, right? If it is an extension, like you have
Yeah.
to do the
Yes.
emirate exemption because you're not going to list, you're just extending.
Yes. All right, here are the blank disclosures that are in the middle of this lease. I don't know why they stuck them in here. So let's scroll by these because we've already received them from the landlord. Okay. All right. Now, whoa. Look, go back. All right. This is the Cook County Residential Lease Exhibit A, landlord exemption notice disclosure. If this applies, this would be the rental residential tenant landlord exemption notice. Most people are not going to be exempt, but if it is not any of these that are not applicable to you and your tenant, I would like you to write N/A for not applicable. All right, scroll down to the signature line. All right, I would have my tenant initial the bottom of this page that they saw it, even though I wrote NA for not applicable. Okay. All right, let's go to the next page. Move-in fee disclosure. If there is no move-in fee, you would put an NA on here, type an NA, and have the tenant initial the bottom saying that they saw this was not applicable. All right. Let's go down. The 60-day lease termination disclosure. Lease termination notices must be sent to tenants at least 60 days prior to the lease termination. This is something the landlord could use in the future. So we don't want to pull these documents out because they could be used in the future. So currently, this is not applicable. You could put a little NA on it, have the tenant initial. All right. Keep going. All right, bed bug remediation disclosure. Let's say during the course of the lease, the tenant calls the landlord and says, we got a notice from the association that there's bed bugs in this building. Then this document would need to be used by the landlord and sent out. All right. So right now we don't have any bed bugs, so you're going to put an NA and have the tenant initial. But the landlord might need to use this in the future if it's found that there are bed bugs. You're all going to need this security deposit receipt. Okay, this should be completed and the tenant should sign it. All right. This one is the Cook County Residential Lease Foreclosure Disclosure. Chances are the property that your tenant is leasing is not in foreclosure, we hope, but the landlord by law has to disclose if it is in foreclosure. So we're going to leave it as part of this packet. Right now, it's going to be a not applicable. Okay. Code violations. If there are any code violations, they would have to be listed here. If there aren't any, you're going to ask your landlord, are there any code violations that you're aware of? Otherwise, we're going to put an NA, or actually go back up. I'm sorry, Deb. No code violations have been issued for this property. You're going to check that box at line 2. Okay. And then we're going to go down and have the tenant sign it. All right. Now, that doesn't mean it couldn't be revised in the future. If the village comes and says, guess what, we found something wrong, the landlord is going to have to send this back to the tenant and say, we found code violations. All right. Should the management change during the course of this lease, your landlord would use this form, all right, to notify the tenant. Okay. Let's scroll down. Security deposit receipt. I think we had this already once,
I
but
thought so too.
yeah.
So Sandy,
Okay.
all the documents that don't apply around NA now, they still need to be signed by tenants
I would say initials are sufficient,
or initials.
just so that
Okay.
they saw them.
Uh-huh,
All right.
thank you.
All right. So now, this is the very important document. This needs to be acknowledged. Cook County Commission on Human Rights. This is the Cook County Renters' Rights and Landlord Protections. I would like you to have the tenants initial the bottom of every page. All right. This tells the tenant what their rights are, tells the landlord what their rights are. All right. And that should take us all the way to the end of this. All right.
So
Page 7
compliance will be
again.
looking for initials on these pages as well.
Yeah, doc review looks very carefully at every page that you submit.
Yeah,
All right.
okay.
Okay. These brochures should be given to every tenant. All right. They're incorporated into the lease, tells them what bed bugs are all about. Okay.
I
I
have a
always
question.
keep the lead-based paint brochure. I keep the radon brochure. Always, and I share that as well with my tenants. All right. If
I
you
have a
want,
question. I have a question. I think for Chicago,
yeah.
if we use the Chicago form, I think they don't have this exhibit at the end of it.
Okay, then you could always add it.
So we go copy the MLS and add this to separately, separate
Yes.
document for you guys.
Yeah. Now, well, you're talking about the bed bug brochure?
All the exhibits that you had at the end of it.
Oh,
When I use the Chicago one, 2 days ago. They did
No,
not
the
have
Chicago one is different and the rules in Chicago are different. They don't require the same things. This
So
is
we
just
don't
for
know.
Cook County.
This is Cook County, but I'm saying that when I've, put documentation together, I don't have to do all this exhibit for Chicago?
No,
Okay, thank you.
yeah, you just use what Chicago requires. They are a different entity and they've got their own rules, okay?
You must
Okay,
use
thank-
Chicago one for Chicago,
You
right?
must, absolutely, you must use a Chicago lease in Chicago.
Yeah.
All right, cannot use a Chicago lease in suburban Cook County. All right,
Right,
can't use a suburban Cook County lease in Chicago.
correct.
All right. Any other questions? We can stop sharing now. I will
Okay,
tell you that if you take a listing and you a person in our office brings the tenant, your commission statement will reflect your commission and the tenant's commission. If you get an agent from outside of our office brings the tenant, you only put your commission on the commission statement. That other agent will prepare their own commission statement. All
so
right.
we've got a couple questions. I have noticed some rental listings, they only charge a move-in fee, no security deposit.
That's
Can you
very
explain
common.
the difference?
Typically, the move-in fee is non-refundable. Security deposit typically is. And there are rules for whether a landlord can use any of that security deposit. They have to provide repair bills and stuff like that in order to take that security deposit. Whereas a non-refundable move-in fee is just a cost of moving into that apartment complex. All right.
Next question. Monica's asking, where are all these forms? Some of these forms I have not seen before. Do you keep them in one area? I feel that sometimes I have to look for different docs in different places.
All of these documents are in broker forms in MRED. I believe they're in Home Smart Connection as well. Am I right, Deb?
Yes,
Okay. Any other questions?
I have a question. For
Yes.
the Cook County renters rate on page 7, which is fine.
I didn't hear you.
For the Cook County renters rate, there's 7 pages. Usually I get that they need a sign page 7, but it's initials okay?
Initials are fine, yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Was there any other question, Deb?
no, that's it. We're good.
Yes, there is.
Oh, sorry. I have a question.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
so I see all the documents listed separately as well, along with all the disclosures are part of the lease as well. So do we need to do separate as well as part of the lease? I don't know.
The disclosures need to be provided before the lease is signed.
Oh,
So,
that's why they are separate.
yes. All right.
I have a couple questions, please.
Yes.
Do you name children on the lease?
Typically, yes.
Okay. And page 13, last page of the lease, it says guarantee. Guarantor need to be signed over here. Is that a landlord?
No. Guarantor, let's say you have a tenant with bad credit or maybe no job, and mommy and daddy are guaranteeing that they will not default. Mom and dad sign as guarantors.
Okay, so it doesn't necessarily have to be signed, only if there is.
That is
guarantor.
correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Anybody else?
This might not be related to this, but as a landlord, if the tenants are not, or is it necessary to have part of the lease that landlord will report the rent payment to the agencies, the credit agencies?
I don't know. If it's part, where is that coming from? Are you saying that you've seen that on a lease?
I have read about it somewhere. I'm just curious that should we put it as part of so that they are aware that landlord is going to report the rent
I
payment.
don't think we can add anything to an existing lease. That would be practicing law.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not allowed to make any alterations or any changes on any documents. Only the landlord can instruct us to write something in, or an attorney can instruct us to write something in. Okay?
We just
Okay.
fill in the blanks.
Yep, you got it.
So when getting paid, do we have a landlord do we have a tenant write the first month rent to our brokerage? Is that how we're getting paid?
Typically speaking, we've got a rental portal called First Month's Rent that they can electronically deposit that first month's rent into our account, and then we will pay out of that first month's rent. We'll send the co-op broker their check and we'll pay our agent. Okay?
And if there's just, let's say, only half of this deposit is going to be used toward commissions, then the other halves go back to a landlord.
Okay, you're saying that we are not collecting rent on behalf of another agent?
Correct.
Okay, yeah, then the other half would go back to the landlord.
Thank you.
So they still have to deposit the whole month and then it will go, because
Well,
if
they
there's
could-
no agency, then it's the same thing, right?
Well, most of our agents who are doing no agency collect money on the no agency half of it too.
Oh, okay.
All right, so it's up to you. If you're only going to collect a half a month's rent and the other half is going to the landlord, then why not have the landlord submit that half a month's rent into the first month's rent portal and have the tenant give the whole first month's rent to the landlord? That's the way I would do it. It's easier
And-
that way.
And how about like when I'm doing it for my sister-in-law, it's only the transaction fee. So she just deposit the transaction fee?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay,
But use the same portal, right?
yeah,
Okay.
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 Any other questions? I have one other question, which is, what is our topic for next month, Sandy?
Wow, what would you like to hear about?
What would everybody like to hear about next month?
Yeah. I'm open to suggestions. You want to email me
Absolutely.
suggestions? We've got some time. I'll do what you feel you need the most help with, okay? So send me
Absolutely.
your ideas and I'll do some research for you.
That would be awesome.
All right. All right, guys. Have a
Let me know.
wonderful weekend. Stay warm. I hear the weather's turning on us.
Yeah.
Thank you very
All
much.
right.
Thank you.
Very good,
Thanks,
everybody.
Take care, guys.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
for participating. Have a great day.
Bye.